Everyone, we are fighters of the Rubizh Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. We are currently located in Pokrovsk direction, and we are holding the enemy's advance in Donetsk region. Right now, we urgently need a pickup truck for transporting food, water, ammunition and personnel. We appeal to the Cars for Ukraine for purchasing, preparing and delivering the vehicle, but also to the operator Starsky community to support in raising the necessary funds. Thank you for your help. Slava Ukraini! Героям слава!
Those guys are our recon, my friends. Those are bad mofos right there. Hello, dear friends and family, operator Starsky here, and I hope that you have your coffee. I have mine, but unfortunately I ran out of milk, and it's kind of sad. Drinking coffee without milk, it kind of feels good, alright? It kind of feels satisfying, but at the same time it's like making love without a partner. Kind of fine, but it makes you feel sad and cold and unprotected. So, cheers, my friends. Today we traditionally have our hot coffee and news review right there. And I hope that you're feeling fine, because today we will have something to discuss regarding the recent events, because that strike on the Putin's palace actually makes a lot of noise these days, and besides that there's also several interesting updates to talk about. So first of all, I am extremely dissatisfied, all right? I am extremely dissatisfied, as well as 100% Ukrainian population, with the fact that that strike actually didn't happen, all right? We are extremely mad and angry and dissatisfied with this fact that, unfortunately, it happens only in the Putin's imagination, and also, unfortunately, Trump's imagination as well. What was the background? All right, you know that during the recent negotiations, Ukraine and the United States discussed all that amazing peace plan and stuff, and I noticed every interesting thing every single time we reach some kind of progress, all right? We find the common tongue, all right, with our American colleagues. Every single time Putin fucking fucks up something, all right? It's either he sends like a fuckload of shaheds saying that, okay, I promise nothing's gonna happen, or keeps attacking during the ceasefire that he announced himself. And basically here we can see the same, all right? Remember first time United States and terror Russia had negotiations. It's when Trump said that they reached incredible progress and basically the war will be over tomorrow. And while he was saying that, at the same time in terror Russia, Vlad was talking, you know, on the screen and saying that yeah, we in principle we agree to the ceasefire and everything else, but there are nuances, all right? And then he starts like, what is going to be with the territories and blah 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 and everything else. What if Russia gets invaded again, you know? And we can see this happening every single time. As soon as we reach some kind of progress, all right? As soon as we reach some kind of common point of view with American colleagues, all right? We can see that Putin always invents some new incredible shit. And basically, I think that he was incredibly dissatisfied with the fact that President Zelensky and Trump talked and discussed this plan. They were talking about the security guarantees. And immediately after they talked, Putin came up with this interesting idea. Because if we check out, for example, what was the reaction of Lavrov says that Kiev in the night on 29th of December performed an attack involving 91 drone aiming at the house of the Russian fucking dictator in Novgorod Oblast, in Valdai. And the negotiation standpoint of the terrorist federation will be reviewed considering the most recent shift of the Kiev so-called regime to the policy of state terror. That is what Lavrov says. He mentions 91 drone, but of course, if we check out, for example, the messages coming from the Russian Ministry of Defense in stolen toilets itself, right? They only report 18 drones flying over the Novgorod Oblast, 89 Ukrainian drones that were intercepted and destroyed, again, according to the Russian terrorists. And at the same time, you know that every time there is a drone strike, all right, somewhere in the Russian Federation involving Ukrainian drones, every single time they have this plan cover, the carpet plan. It's when they cease operations. They don't allow any of the Russian airplanes, civilian airplanes, to take off because Russians don't want to destroy their own aircraft. And we know that Russians are very, very fond of destroying civilian aircraft, Azerbaijan, MH17, and yada yada. We know that they only introduced this plan in order to, not to fart in the puddle, because they do it every single time with their stupid air defense, hitting civilian houses and everything else. So to me, it was very interesting to observe all that, because the airport that is closest to Valdai and generally that region, nothing was announced at all. So this Russian informational operation was kind of good and kind of interesting. It failed within 5 hours. I don't know. Maybe Putin is losing, his grip. But to me, it looks absolutely amateur what he did there. So what else? What else do we have? Medvedev. Oh my God, that Russian alcoholic. He started screaming that the Kiev bastard is trying to stop the resolution of this conflict, and now he will have to hide until the rest of the days. Well, of course, it doesn't mean anything, because we know that Medvedev can say whatever he likes in the social media, because generally when you are fucking drunk, you say a lot of different stuff. But on the place of Medvedev, I would rather, call his fucking ex and talk to her instead of just sublimating into the social media all that shit that he keeps inside. Let me know what you think about it. So it was kind of cringe. Again, I'm highly dissatisfied. Ukrainians are extremely, extremely mad because of this. All right, because watching Russian dictator's house being attacked is something that would make us so happy. For example, that as far as I remember, it was 2023 or something, 2024, 2023, I believe, when Ukrainian drones reached all the way to Kremlin, all right, and hit the Kremlin dome. And then you probably also remember those at least 3 Ukrainian attacks on the Russian Kerch Bridge, and also Ukrainian attacks in the Russian ports, all right, and the spiderweb operation. Of course, Ukraine can do that, all right. Ukrainian intelligence, the legendary SBU, they can absolutely easily do that. But for some reason, they didn't do that, which is, again, me as a Ukrainian, I understand, but I also don't approve because, for example, as Trump says that, being offensive is good, but killing Putin is bad. Why? Like the second part of his sentence, what he said, is probably the best thing ever, the coolest thing, the biggest dream of every conscious person, not only Ukrainians, but generally every conscious person in this world, to see him becoming better, all right, to see him getting improved like that. That is why I feel a bit. I feel a bit sorry. I feel a bit disappointed. That's the word. Disappointed. Yeah. So besides all that, there was a lot of noise. Why Russians are talking about now switching their whole political stance? Well, because that's exactly the reason why they actually performed that fake, and most probably soon they will be increasing their attacks on the civilian population in Ukraine. I guarantee. All right, I guarantee. And generally speaking, we also know that Russians are very, very good at shooting at both sides, all right, things like that. Destroying their own houses. Politkovskaya, her investigation, which actually resulted in her being shot mysteriously, right, when Putin demolished his own several houses, residential houses, with people sleeping inside, just to start the war in Chechnya. That is why those who trust Putin, they have a very, very big problem, right, with critical thinking and with logic in general. Peskov said, this one is probably the cringiest one. He says, I don't think that there must be some kind of evidence, all right? Because Peskov actually called everyone to believe, to trust Russian word, to trust what the Russians say when he was asked about any evidence or clues of that attack that allegedly took place, all right? Of course, there was not a single person in that area with a phone, all right? And at the same time, the witnesses that were there, and they were there, they all reported in the Russian social media that there were no drones. They would just, sit outside, drink beer, poop on the children's playground like Russians usually do, and they had a peaceful Russian evening like that. Nothing really happened. So again, it was a good informational operation, funny as fuck, I think, all right, because in my personal opinion, the only thing that can compare to that is when they called, those two dumb fucks who arrived to Salisbury to kill plenty of people using Russian combat chemicals. And then Margarita Simonyan invited them to the studio, and they were like, well, we just wanted to, we just wanted to drink some British tea, all right? We just wanted to enjoy the fog, things like that. That was kind of funny. So yeah, I'm still expecting to find something, all right, related to that. Maybe they will finally come up with an idea that most probably they should have launched some kind of Russian Shahid in that general direction, and call all sorts of Russian journalists, gather them in that place, and they would make a footage of that. But as we probably understand, that will never happen. So what else do we have? We have some kick-ass Ukrainian attack on the arsenal of Russian Shahids. That is an area where Russians established a platform for launching Shahids in the Donetsk airport. So literally tonight, this attack was performed, and as we can see, my internet sucks balls for some reason. I think that my internet also lacks milk, like my coffee. Come on, don't embarrass me in front of my friends and family. Do something. Like this one is actually embarrassing, my friends. Let me just switch for a while. This one is actually embarrassing. Like there is nothing more embarrassing than like showing you this stuff. It never happened before, I swear. Okay, let's wait just a second. I love German internet, even if it's like not as good as in Ukraine, but I literally love it because it has its flaws, all right? It has its upsides and downsides. It's like it's alive, all right? Because we all got accustomed to good internet, fast internet connection, and we expect to just open your phone, immediately reach a different part of the planet, and be satisfied with the search result and stuff like that. But when you see things like this, it's a reminder that life is not only about living in a comfortable bubble. It's also shit like this, because this shit doesn't load. Okay, I will be just pretending that I'm Peskov. Trust my word, okay? Trust my word, this attack really happened, and the mass strike took place. Of course, not involving 91 gazillion of drones, but it really happened. So what was destroyed during this strike? We were talking about logistical hub of Geran and Shahid drones, also the point of pre-flight preparation and maintenance of Geran, Shahid and Gerbera drones, also the central arsenal of charges, of warheads for Geran and Shahid, and also the primary arsenal of Gerbera drones, as well as the point of concentration of personnel and technical personnel of the Russian invaders that performs preparation and technical pre-flight maintenance of Geran, Shahid and Gerbera drones. So those were attacked using Ukrainian FP2 drones. Those are big, those are good, all right. And generally, you can tell that FP2 drones are getting more and more popular. Unlike Telegram, all right? Telegram, you suck. This stuff is so embarrassing, my friends. I'm trying the second time because this video was actually really good, but for some reason it doesn't work. Jesus. I must be crazy, it's like clicking the same button over and over again, expecting for a different result. So here we can see another picture. All right, this is the freshest one. This is as of today. Ukrainian attack on Russian refineries, Russian power stations started earlier today. This image is as of 14:01 local time. We can see that good Ukrainian drones are happily flying towards Moscow, to Tver. Yes, towards Moscow, Podmoskovye, Tver, Ryazan, Oryol, Bryansk, Kursk, a bit even, a bit of Kursk, and in that general direction. And we already have some very, very good results of this mass tour, all right, mass tour over the terrorist land, because Russians are now enjoying this. And if you don't see anything on your screens, just to remind you that approximately the way Ukraine looked like winter 2022-23, winter 2023-24, and basically in December this year as well. So now Russians can enjoy the darkness as well. How beautiful is this? I literally celebrate this shit. So look at those. Look at those dark windows. If you look, for example, at Kolyma, you can see that basically every Russian house in Kolyma looks like that. All right, and apparently we thought, like, why should only Kalymanians, all right, suffer? Basically we shared some Christmas vibes with the residents of Podmoskovia as well, because in Podmoskovia another power station got improved, all right, it required maintenance, and Ukraine generously sent its maintenance drones to bring some more happiness to the citizens of Podmoskovia, and I really hope that they will have a very, very happy Christmas and happy New Year, because they're weird. They celebrate New Year and then they celebrate Christmas, all right? How fucked up is that? So I hope that they will have some very, very good time, all right, celebrating, because it kind of sucks. You're not supposed to celebrate just wearing socks and underwear, like drinking vodka on the floor. No, you live in Russia. There's snow outside. There's fucking bears with balalaikas. Wear your coat, wear your ushanka hats, and enjoy the holidays. All right. Another thing to add is that all those people, you see this person desperately trying to do something with their phone, and that's exactly the case, because Russians, when they experience visit of good Ukrainian drones, they always shut down the mobile networks. So basically, Russians cannot reach their relatives, they cannot talk on the phone, they cannot check the news, they cannot check the recent updates on the stuff. And that is absolutely inhumane, I think. So the Russian propaganda is saying that 600,000 of Russians in Podmoskovia will be drinking cold vodka tonight, all right? And again, that is exactly what they deserve, because Ukrainians are very, very generous people. I'm looking at more stuff, all right, in the Telegram channel, and I cannot understand why the fuck doesn't it load. Let me just refresh it just in case. But from what I can see, just lags like crazy. Tell me if you can even see me properly, because my internet is making me very, very happy tonight. Oh. Coffee without milk, my friends. Kinda sucks. I have an impression that literally someone is sucking my internet like a freaking Dracula right now. I have no idea. Internet doesn't work. What happened? Like, we hit Podmoskovia and the internet disappeared in Germany. What the hell is that? I have no idea. But it's kind of sus. Can't say anything for sure. Okay, we can see you except for your hair. It's good. It's supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to see my hair. All right. Only for like separate payment, premium membership on a different website. Greetings to Germany as well. Guten Abend. And what else? If you can not charge your phone, you don't need internet. Yeah, that is coming from the real Vladimir Putin himself. All right, that's 100% true. So. I agree on that. Why do they need even the internet? I have no idea. Because everything is bad, all right? Everything surrounding terror Russia is absolutely bad and horrible. Nazi terrorist, satanist gays everywhere, all right? Everywhere. in the internet, a lot of that rotten stuff, that literally makes your brain deteriorate. Okay, Roblox, Facebook, Instagram. How can you even look in that general direction? Instagram is not for Russian people, right? Instagram sucks. Russian people prefer to make like actual pictures, right? It's like when you want to show some picture of your family holiday to your friends, and you go like, just a second, and then you literally like lift, like this fucking package of pictures and start reviewing them. That's Russian style, all right? That's Russian style. Of course, if they have any gadget to make pictures. All this time, while I'm talking, my Telegram doesn't work. Let me check if it's even alive, because who knows? Kinda is. That's strange. Okay, let me close this stuff. Let me restart it. Maybe it will work eventually, because our stream is under threat now. Telegram, show it to me. I have no idea. Anyways, let's sit comfier, all right, and talk, because there was some very cringy video that I actually wanted to. Oh my God, to show you, which involves Russian Dad Moroz, Russian version of Santa Claus, only the pagan version of it. A bunch of Russian kids and Russian terrorists. So I will save this one for you, because I can, generally, right? I can share that content, not necessarily through the web browser. And also, we have some more footage from the terror land, but again, kind of sucks. So, President Zelensky stated that despite all the bullshit about those alleged attacks on Putin's palace and stuff, Ukraine keeps cooperating with their American counterparts, with their American colleagues, which I can only admire, all right, the patience of our diplomats, and especially President Zelensky, because that is a fucking torture. But I can absolutely appreciate that. So yeah, we have some more data coming from Podmoskovia. The Russians are crying, and that's a happy tears, all right? That's happy tears in the Terrorist Federation. So they're crying, and they celebrate the opportunity to finally, sit with their loved ones in the darkness with candles. Greetings to beautiful Cardiff Oblast. Greetings, my friend. I'm not sure if you were here yesterday, but we decided that we will build a statue, all right, a statue in Cardiff, to honor everyone who suffered without Russian gas. And it will look like, like that lady from that picture, that painting of the French Revolution, like the big one, the big lady. So it will be like that big lady holding and nursing a big fat hamster, and breastfeeding him. So that's just my proposition. I think that would be sick. So much love to Cardiff, much love. Yeah. So you were here, so you know about this one. What else can we talk about? Let me show you this cringy stuff, because the Russians are trying to make their population of slaves a bit more accustomed to the fact that Russia is slowly turning into this fascist state where little kids should get used to assembling and disassembling Kalashnikov, to wearing uniforms, to saying goodbye to their dads who go to other countries and don't return, or if they do, they can literally fit in several body bags, tiny, like very tiny ones. So let me show you this one. This one is cringy as fuck. I'm not sure if I will get like blocked or right for playing this music. That is why I will just shut it fucking off. So you can see Russian terrorists bringing a Russian Santa Claus, the Dead Moroz, right? The Dead Moroz, wearing fucking body armor. They could not come up with anything better, all right? Than showing a dead fucking Moroz, the dead of war. Dead means like grandpa, all right? Grandpa Moroz. So they brought this Grandpa Moroz, Grandpa Frost, wearing his body armor as if he's a... the fuck is that? As if he's a fucking spirit of war and death and destruction. And the dude is like, you know, with those boxing gloves, literally saying, motherfucker, either obey or I will kick your ass, you know, and kids are like extremely happy to see them. And of course he's wearing this Russian winter camouflage, some crazy fucking hat, and I don't even know what to say. Yeah, so they decided to go and say hello to all those kids, congratulate them with year 2026, play some games with those Russian terrorists. I have no idea if those terrorists actually participated somewhere. Maybe they were literally like decapitating Ukrainian kids, and here they come and, you know, with the hands that were decapitating people in other countries, they come and like hug those little Russians. Which besides, by the way, is not fact, because among those Russians there might be kidnapped Ukrainian kids 100%, because, you know, there's 20,000 Ukrainian kids that were kidnapped and still forcibly held on the Russian territory. Yeah, so why is he wearing boxing gloves? But generally, Russians do all sorts of crazy fucking shit when they are drunk. I can tell you that. So Grandpa Moroz is still wearing body armor. I have no idea how to comment this one. Apparently they thought it would be fun. I mean, the Russian kids should grow up and get used to this. They gotta get accustomed to see military, all right, military people wearing military stuff and doing military thing. That is the version of good and healthy future for the kids in the Russian interpretation, which is kind of cringy, of course. Oh my God, I hope they won't give them weapons, all right, because they often do. So let me just turn this fucking shit off. It was a torture. It was a torture. So I have something else cringy for you, my friends, if you like, because as we're speaking right now, I believe that Russians probably sitting there scratching their heads and thinking what to do, what sort of bullshit to spread, to create boxing gloves for Boxing Day. I don't know, maybe that's the way they imagine, you know, fighting against Ukrainian drones or something. I have no idea. I hope they do. Yeah, but at this point I believe that Russians are literally sitting there scratching their heads, drinking vodka, again puking at the children's playgrounds and thinking, what sort of bullshit should we create and spread to make other people believe that Ukrainians actually attacked Putin's palace? And on one hand, of course, they don't need to put more effort in that, right? on one hand, Russians don't really need to put a lot of effort because Vlad can literally call his best friend and say, they destroyed my crapper. And basically that sounds plausible, right? But on the other hand, I still have like a tiny hope that they will actually check the information and see for themselves that nothing really happened. But that hope is very tiny, you know. But on the other hand, listening to Putin is a funny experience because we all know that Putin never lies. Never in his entire life, you know, he's such a trustworthy person, and all sorts of paid talking heads, especially in the American segment of YouTube, paid pro-Russian talking heads, they always say, listen to what Putin is saying, all right? Putin never lies. He's absolutely credible and trustworthy. So I found some very old video just to remind you, all right?
Всегда уважали территориальную целостность украинской державы.
We always respected territorial integrity of Ukraine, all right? 18th of March 2014. They always respected Ukrainian territorial integrity at the same time. In 2001, this very motherfucker was saying to George Bush that Ukraine should not exist. But we believe what you say, Vlad.
Подчеркну, в боевых действиях не участвуют и не будут участвовать солдаты, проходящие срочную службу.
I underscore, he says, that not a single Russian conscript, not a single Russian draft soldier will participate in the special military operation. It's 8th of March 2022. We have never seen, all right, we have never seen Russian conscripts being detained and captured by Ukrainian armed forces. That was just our collective hallucination, right? Just in case, just to remind you.
И не будет проводиться и дополнительный призыв резервистов из запаса.
And he says we will never conduct an additional mobilization of reservists, which, by the way, is already happening. All right, look at sanctioned Ivan. So he says we will never conduct an additional mobilization of reservists. Yeah, of course, never.
Поставленные задачи решают только профессиональные военные.
So the given tasks are only performed by professional soldiers. Professional soldiers most probably remember that Spider-Man from yesterday's video, like that one from a fucking prison. So maybe professional soldiers like that, all right? Maybe they call Russian convicts, all right? Russian murderers and rapists the professional soldiers. But generally speaking, that's the way it is, right? We all know that that is kind of plausible.
Для защиты нашей Родины.
I will move here if you don't mind. So he says, in order to protect our motherland,
Ее суверенитета и территориальной целостности.
its sovereignty and territorial integrity, because again, poor Russia was invaded, right? That's 21st of September 2022. Poor Russia was invaded by evil NATO, gay, mafiosi, Nazi Satanists, all right? It was invaded. We all saw those columns of those rainbow-ish gay tanks with Satanists and Nazi sitting on top of those tanks, all right, just rolling through Russia. Oh, wait a minute. It was a Russian military parade.
Необходимо поддержать предложение о проведении в Российской Федерации частичной мобилизации.
Why do you talk so long? Yeah, he says, so in order to defend and protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the terrorist federation, he says, we should conduct partial mobilization Wait a minute. Like in the previous video, he was saying absolutely different shit.
В наши планы не входит.
All right, I will move here. Let me just move here somewhere. All right. Yeah, I don't feel comfy here at all on this screen. All right, surrounded by Putins. That's too many Putins on the same screen. You know, sharing the same space.
Оккупации украинских территорий. Мы никому и ничего не собираемся навязывать силой.
Yeah, so basically he says that terrorist federation is not going to occupy Ukraine. They're saying that they don't want to force anyone to do anything. And of course, Russian troops on the Ukrainian territory, they are just doing something very important, but no, they are not going to occupy anything at all.
Появление российских войск под Киевом и у других городов Украины связано не с намерением оккупировать эту страну.
He says the mere fact of appearance of the Russian troops around Kiev, where they were fucked, by the way, around Kiev and other regions of Ukraine is not related to our attempts to occupy Ukrainian territories. They're just there, We just decided to send them there because we feel like you Ukrainians are feeling a bit sad and lonely, and, we're just there to drink vodka and have fun.
У нас нет такой цели.
We don't have such mission to occupy Ukraine, he says.
Мы сделаем все, чтобы обеспечить безопасные условия для проведения референдума.
And now, he says, we will do everything to make sure that Ukrainians will have safe conditions to vote on the referendum. What sort of referendum? What are you talking about, dude? I thought you were not gonna occupy anything. Why would they even need the referendum?
Для того, чтобы люди могли выразить свою волю.
So the people could explain their position. That was plausible, all right? So that was plausible. Like, literally, when you look at this chat, that is like the same factor talking about three absolutely different things, all right?
Выразить свою волю. Россия проводит миролюбивую внешнюю политику.
Мы всегда
That one was very cringy. Here he says, Russia is running peaceful external policy. Peaceful Russian soldiers on peaceful Russian tanks, peacefully burning around Kiev and in the Pokrovsk region. Yeah, we saw that. So that's just basically a tiny reminder to you, my dear friends and family, and not only you, that Russia, and specifically Putin, is just so trustworthy, all right? He always means what he says. Or at least what he said previously, because that is like footage 2014, 2022, but in 2001 he already said that Ukraine shouldn't exist, Ukraine is not a nation, and Ukraine should only belong to Russia. All right, not because NATO expansion, because again, if you remember, Ukraine only announced about its decision to join NATO sometime in the future, all right, sometime in the 25th century. In 2008 and in 2001, he was already explaining his plans, all right, of the future invasion of Ukraine to President George Bush and most probably to all other international leaders as well, because Putin always means what he says. So this one is good to remember. Please refer to this video whenever somebody tells you about NATO expansion, existential threat that this huge and horrible Ukrainian country posing to this tiny, peaceful, freedom-loving, democratic country of Russian Federation, all right, where people are so happy, they live their happy lives, enjoy freedom and stuff, and then there's like a bunch of those evil American puppets who for some reason don't really listen to their American puppeteers, all right, populated with satanists, gays, and everyone else who literally just cancel all religion, all right, on the territory of Ukraine, where this religion was basically born, all right, in our part of the world, and decided to literally invade that amazing Russian land with that amazing deep Russian culture. So that's just so you could use it, all right. So that one was not as funny, all right, as Ukraine's attack on the Russian palace, but on the other hand, I think it also deserves to be forever famed, all right, in our segment of the Russian cringe. It's very bad that my Telegram sucks, because I wanted to show you a lot of Russian cringe coming from a few of my favorite communities, but unfortunately it won't load, and I don't know why. Does it even work? Hey Google, show me Google. Google works. Telegram, not really. Come on, do something. It feels so embarrassing. Like, oh my God, you won't believe this. It almost loaded, all right? It's almost loading. Almost. What the hell is going on? So, while this shit is loading, let's talk about yesterday's stream, because yesterday we talked about Epstein's connection, all right, Epstein's FSB connection. I keep trying to reach out to other people who also do the same thing, all right, also research the same topic. And frankly speaking, I feel like vomiting every single time. Every single time I open that amazing fucking collection of those pictures and start scanning through them. It's worse than drinking with Donald Trump, all right? It's worse than having a conscious conversation with someone like J.D. Vance. I tell you that. It's worse than watching J.D. Vance training with Navy SEALs. It's worse than watching Hackset making videos, all right, for the social media. That's how bad it is. Luckily, I still have my coffee. Stupid Putin does not live at home. He'd be too afraid. So Putin lives in the bunker. All right. You don't see Putin at home at all. On all the footage that you see online, you would usually see Putin like either sitting in the bunker, all right, and talking to his goons via the television, all right, or like somewhere else, or like his double, the Putin's doppelganger going somewhere to Mariupol. That's what they do. In Mariupol, by the way, they made a big show, all right, from the reconstruction of that theater, all right. You all remember 2022. People, children, civilians in general were hiding, taking cover in that theater from the Russian bombs. And in order to alert Russian pilots that they are hiding there, they made those huge 10-meter long letters on the asphalt saying children, дети, all right. And that actually served as a good target, as a good aim for the Russian pilots, who actually dropped a bunch of bombs on that theater. They're like, oh, дети, the children, that is exactly where we should strike. So they hit that theater in Mariupol, killing hundreds of people that were taking cover in that theater, in the basement, and basically burning everyone in the debris. So Russia decided to rebuild that theater, and when you look at it, unfortunately, again, my Telegram is not loading, but when you look at it, you can tell that technically it looks more or less, all right, more or less like the previous version. The only thing that could make it even more real is basically they forgot to write дети, they forgot to write children, all right, in front and behind of that theater. That would make it legit, but when you look at what they done, apparently they didn't think about so that was absolutely horrific, and they just don't care. That's the way that they fight, okay? When Russians are saying, we don't kill Ukrainians enough, that's actually because they cannot do more. Literally, they physically cannot do more, because they already in 2022, they showed what Russia is capable of doing to civilian population, to kids, and then, of course, in 2022, they also kidnapped 22,000 of Ukrainian children. Yeah, but returning to Epstein, I feel literally like puking every single time I watch those photos, because it's actually disgusting, but one thing that actually attracted my attention, and it's right there, it's immediately among the very first pictures, is, for example, this one. There in the middle you can see Ghislaine Maxwell. She was recognized. I recognized her through several AI-powered pieces of software, all right, so that's her. And besides her, you can see a bunch of Russian cadets. So those are Russian soldiers. And judging from their epaulettes, they are cadets, future officers. All right. And what the fuck were Ghislaine, together with apparently Epstein, right? Because somebody took that pic. What the fuck was she doing in the terrorist federation back in those days? Because that's around 90s, all right? Yeah, that's Bieber and Dolik. That's them. And the one on the left is wearing Yemelyan, basically. So, what the fuck was she doing there? I've no idea. If you have any assumptions, all right, just share them with me, because I would really like to know. But that's literally Russia, and that's them making a selfie together with Russian cadets, and not just like conscripts, not just draft soldiers, but literally with future Russian officers. And one thing that I also find interesting is that it's very, very hard to tell from the uniform which exactly officers they are, because both like military firefighters and also FSB cadets, they're wearing the same shit, all right? They're wearing the same ugly Russian, that is either Flora or Arbuz uniform, that very pattern. They all wear the same stuff, so you cannot tell if this dude on the left or on the right, for example, if they study in the FSB academy or they study somewhere else, military plumbers, all right? Which is of course not true, because we know that they don't have plumbing in the Russian military. That's why they're snatching everything else from other countries. So that one was very interesting to see, and of course I also tried to recognize those two fucking mugs, alright, standing besides Ghislaine. And I failed, but I'm not giving up. I have some more tools, alright, in my pocket. And also, besides this one, I found something actually very, very sickening. But before we start talking about it, I'll probably go grab my vape and drink some coffee. Just a second, my friends, because that one is kind of sinister, alright? I'm so naive. I was like, I will just drop my vape over there because I don't want to vape in front of respectable people, right? In front of respectful people. But I failed. So searching through those photos, and by the way, they must be processed. They must be processed 100% because there are so many faces that actually look familiar. We gotta process them using different face recognition software. And of course, I believe that we will not see like primary figures, because we talked yesterday that there are people that actually even American government don't really want to make you acquainted with, all right, in terms of this case. Oh, I'm vaping too. Yay, I'm vaping as well. I'm vaping the nicotine-free vape because I can. Where does Yemilian get printer cartridges for his diplomatically blять abducted printer? I literally have no idea, but generally the way I found Yemilian was literally next to something that looked like pieces of printer. I'm not sure, maybe you remember this from the photo. I have it somewhere. But Yemilian was literally hugging the ground next to something that looked like either Xerox or printer or something like that. I chew the nicotine gum. I don't consume nicotine luckily because it sucks, and that's the only reason why I'm vaping these ones, because they're harmless. I am vaping medical weed. That's cool. That's cool. You can. You are Vladimir Putin. You can afford whatever. One extremely sinister thing that I discovered, and I'm not the only one who actually noticed that, was this one. So that is from Epstein's house. That's evidence EFTA A00002897. So that's a note in his notebook, apparently. And why it makes it sinister, all right? So if you take a look at the left piece of paper with the words and try to understand what the fuck it even is, and let me just zoom in for you, all right? If I can, let me try. Because it's no easy. So on that note, you can see something very fucking strange, all right? But while reading that, I realized that the words are actually English transliteration of Russian words, because that is nothing else then баю-баюшки баю, не ложися на краю. That is Russian lullaby. How fucking sick is that, considering everything that was taking place in that area? So he wrote down a Russian lullaby because apparently he wanted to learn it so much. And apparently he wanted to read it to somebody. So I felt sick. I felt extremely sick from that shit. But there's a lot of people who didn't feel so sick, you know, going to and from that island multiple times and keeping very good and warm communication with this motherfucker. So that is creepy, absolutely. Cheers to the beautiful Edmonton. My friends, crazy shit. 2010, 2011, back in those days, I actually subscribed to a website that offered employment in Canada, all right? And then there was revolution in Ukraine and everything else, and I completely switched, all right? But I still keep receiving those emails, even though like I don't read them at all. But they serve as a good reminder that there is beautiful Canada populated by amazing people. You don't have to swear like a Russian. This is a public site. David, I completely agree with you, and dear friends and family there in the chat, they will confirm that I even promised not to swear, and I broke this promise. So now I have to read a poem in Farsi, okay? So I really did try, and I completely agree with you that cursing sucks, considering that there might be like younger people watching me as well. I know for sure that there is a teacher that actually shows my videos to her students, and I keep reminding myself about this every single time, that I should probably, you know, like speak a bit cleaner. But that's my fuck up. I'm sorry. You also promised to stop vaping, but here we fucking are. I can stop. I literally, I stopped smoking. I stopped vaping 100 times a day. You know. So technically, I can. There are several Ukrainian journalists. You know, one of them is Roman Skripin. He's so cool because like he radiates sarcasm when he talks, and he never smiles. You know, like he's a classical Ukrainian journalist. I would say he's like, you know, with this sarcastic mug, and I enjoy watching him so much because he's so freaking funny. And he never, almost never curses. All right, I admit, he almost never curses. Yeah, but that is like top pilotage. I cannot do that, unfortunately. I spent too much time in the army. And not like it didn't teach me anything good, but it taught me a lot from the guys and my subordinates I served with. So... when anyone's homeland is attacked, all curse words are allowed. I agree on that. Also, considering that Putin is generally huilo, which is the name that he will go down in history with. He already did. I believe that the real Vladimir Putin can confirm there in the chat. Is swearing like a Pole permitted? Swearing like a Pole is not just permitted, but kurva mandatory, alright? That stuff is mandatory, because the way Polacy do that is a kind of art, I believe. I saw your show with probably Anna from Ukraine. And probably that was Anna, because we talked about swearing. It was so cute to see her, like blushing just a bit. It was fun. Is it true that Ukrainian forces have driven the Russians out of my beloved Kupiansk? Yeah. So one of the updates that unfortunately I cannot show you because my Telegram sucks temporarily, right? One of the reasons is that there was a bunch of messages, again, in the Russian monitoring channels, and there was one specific message saying that several groups of Russians are actually still sitting there, surrounded in the Kupiansk downtown. They mined themselves, they placed a bunch of booby traps, and they say they don't receive supplies. So in that message, they appeal to the Russian command that you should probably send them something, all right? Food or at least some water. So that is one thing. She was blushing, I was crying. Same here. That stream with Anna was a delight. We gotta do more, I think. Especially related to something, very, very traditionally Ukrainian. Because she's very, very good about, in terms of talking about this specific subject. I got a feeling that tonight is a good night. Oh yeah, it is. Because tomorrow is New Year's Eve. And my lady will be here, and I don't curse as much when my lady is around because I feel ashamed. She's polite, educated Persian woman. She doesn't she was raised like that. Okay, so I feel extremely ashamed when I say something. She's amazing. Absolutely, Anna is really, really cool. We gotta have more streams, 100%. I think it's a good time to actually, visit her channel and maybe hope that she will visit me as well. You could just swear in Ukrainian, that would be cool. That would be cool, but not as cool as swearing in Polish. Because kurwa ja pierdolę. How amazing is that? I told you that story when I was doing something in that countryside, and Polish countryside is actually very, very beautiful. It's pretty much like German countryside. And the gates open, and the owner of the place, like this big Polish man walks out early in the morning wearing like shorts and like wife beater. And he walks out and looks at his neighbor doing something. And it's a beautiful morning, birds singing, clouds floating, flies flying, bugs buzzing. Yeah, so it's like peace and harmony in the morning, summer day, and he walks out, and sees his neighbor, and his neighbor is doing something. I think he did renovation. And he's like screaming across the street, you know, like, "Kurwa, co ty robisz?" I'm like, fuck, how poetic it is, how beautiful it is. All right. So that is something that I am still trying to learn from Polish people, because we gotta learn, you know, the best practices from our friends and allies. It was just so good. Hello, my friend. You are here. You are here. I can see you. Test is successful. I confirm. Yeah. Straight from the marrow, yeah. So Polish people are really, really cool in terms of swearing. I didn't hear, for example, Czechs cursing a lot. Please help me if you're there in the chat. Let me know. I will even try to impersonate. I have a note to Putin. Goes like this: if I were you and you were me, what an asshole I would be. That's genius. That's genius. I would steal this one and dedicate it to different individuals. So I was in Kupiansk in September 2022. It was a beautiful city. As we say in Poland, kurwa dobrze. Nie tylko dobrze, naprawdę zajebiście. All right. And by the way, Oleg, can you please explain one thing to me? So, in Ukraine, when we say "ебать", that's like bad. Okay, it's not appropriate to say that on a television, unless you are me in the first days of war and you make like address to the Russian soldiers. That one was cringy, because like all the Ukrainian TV channels showed that uncensored. All right, that was so cool. Made my commander blush like crazy. But if you say "ебать", that is not appropriate for obvious reasons. It's like a foul language. In Polish, "jebać" basically the same. But why is it appropriate to say "zajebiście" albo "zajebiste"? Please let me know. I need to know this one. It's still a mystery to me. How to swear in Czech? Try this. How do you read that C with that stuff on top? Is that like ch or that like s? Let me know and I will read this one. It's hard to explain. Well, Oleg, that is why we're here. That is why we can share, you know, the best experience and best practices. I lost that comment already. Yeah, this one. So let me know how to read this letter, and I will try to read this one, because zajebiście is like saying cool. Yeah, absolutely, Tomasz, that is the case. But in Ukrainian language, for example, if you say that something is zajebezne, then it's not really proper to say. Aha, so that is like ch, like soft. Aha, alright. So basically this means do pici ja się na to muszę wysrać. Do pici ja się na to muszę wysrać. Which I can see familiar words, but I don't know what do pici means. First time here, but a lot of love from Netherlands. Hello, 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 and much love to the commander as well. I saw him in the chat somewhere. a classic Croatian one from Newman right there. Jebo wam sve po spisku. Jebo wam sve po spisku. Shit, let me make a screenshot of that, alright? I need to save this one. Just in case. I gotta collect the folklore, alright, from other countries. Aha, so now I know. Okay. And just like that, from discussing, geopolitics and Russian cringe and the biggest scandal of 21st century, one amazing person in the chats literally shifted everything, all right? Everything, all the course of the discussion. And this is why I like all the people there in the chat, because that's a live communication, all right? Jebem wam wse po spisku. Nice. Perkele. I heard about this one, but I don't remember what it means. Podka. Yeah, we use that word a lot in the Western Ukraine. We do. And it's kind of very, very bad to say this word, especially in the Western Ukraine. In the Western Ukraine, there's a lot of very conservative, very Christian population and stuff like that, very, very highly educated. So when they say that one, it makes a lot of people go red instantly. Aha, so that is Satan table. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Swear words are the universal unifier, absolutely. But it's also very, very cool to see how those words transform, through the territory, how they transform between continents. Not today, William. I'm sorry, I can't. Winter is here. Yeah, so cool. We didn't see any snow in my part of the world, which I'm not nagging. I'm not complaining at all. I wish all the winters were like that. Learning great languages tonight. Yes, my friends. I'm glad that you have some free time to share with us. Always a pleasure to see you here. EU is the new power, a new old power, hopefully. Zayebiще is like fucking awesome, or as I understand it in Ukrainian, it will be охуенно. Yeah, in Ukrainian we have zaєбен, zaєбезно, for example. Dla przykładu. You're on duty. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know about that. But охуенно, yeah. But on the other hand, I've heard a lot of cases when this word was pronounced on the television, for example. Maybe I'm misremembering something, but I think it was the case. I saw it on the television, 100%. That video of me and my sergeant major when we were recording the address to the Russian invaders in the beginning of the war, and that one was aired live on the television, and I felt kind of awkward because I'm sitting there with a bunch of officers. We had television working 24/7 with all the news and updates, and a bunch of colonels there, all right? Colonels of the staff headquarters of my brigade and stuff. And the journalists are like, oh, we have the first address from Ukrainian soldiers to the Russian invaders. And it was literally days after the fight in Hostomel. And they start playing my address on the television while me and the colonels are watching. And I'm like, are they for real? And they literally start playing it without any censorship. Like, there's a lot of words that you don't speak out loud. And then the colonel is like, wasn't bad. That was awkward. That was actually embarrassing. Northeast Florida is under a hard freeze for tonight until tomorrow. Not bad. Give me 100 degrees Fahrenheit, because I know that it's quite hot. And that would be a perfect environment. I can already hear, like shootings outside. People already celebrate the upcoming New Year. Enjoying a piece of Ukrainian halva. Oh my god. I haven't tried halva in years. And by the way, most probably I will visit that Ukrainian grocery store not far from me. Maybe I'll visit it tomorrow and get some for myself. The word zajebiще is not considered offensive or ugly. It's simply an expression of something cool. Yeah, that is 100%. Polish language is just so colorful and so cool in terms of, like when you curse properly, that is a high class immediately, right? It doesn't sound dirty. It sounds like amazing, like, inspiring even. Oh my god, again, I gotta make a screenshot of this as well. I gotta collect the wisdom from other nations, right? I gotta save this one. Just in case. Quote, why? Doesn't sound like anything I know. Ukrainian man from Sumy built my neighbor's stone patio. He worked 12-14 hours per day, hardest working man I've ever seen. Yeah, we are like that. Not always, but usually we are like that. And especially if you like what you're doing, right? If you enjoy what you're doing. If you know and enjoy what you're doing. Five Eyes are watching Rubio intensely. He's the only one of the current admins that can rescue Trump from oblivion. Absolutely, there were high hopes, all right, towards Marco Rubio, but not like I feel completely disappointed, but I still have hope. I'm an optimist. I'm sorry, I still have hope. I hope for better. Skurvysyn, is that Ukrainian? Yeah, that is Ukrainian 100%. That is basically like son of a bitch. Do you know how surprised I was when the guy I fought with in Ukraine brought me furniture in Poland? Yeah, it was like family reunion. I can imagine that. I remember it's bad enough for Ukrainians to endure them on New Year's Eve. Yeah, but we also had this experience back in Ukraine before the full-scale invasion, because the fireworks were banned everywhere. The law would forbid the fireworks because since 2015, again, there are a lot of veterans, and me personally and also my dog, we didn't react well to those. But we would have those fireworks all the time, and I remember it was year 2020 or 2021. They started literally shooting outside like crazy, and my dog was sitting under the table, Fucha. He was sitting on the table and trembling, and I had to sit next to him and hold him because he was trembling because of those fireworks. So yeah, that was nasty. We used to have a ban on fireworks because nutters made bombs from them. I can see how it's possible, yeah. Can't rescue anything from the dumpster fire who keep repeating Russia, Russia. Yeah. Deny the truth that Ruski bots won him the elections. Which is, again, completely true, because why would Trump hate Russians if Russians helped him with all the bot farms, alright? That actually exist, that were reported by FBI, and FBI doesn't have reason to lie because President doesn't control FBI. He can attempt to control FBI through the director, but it's usually doesn't work. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, this one is sad. My pitbull is shaking 24/7 because of fireworks. Yeah. And my dog also hates fireworks because when he was a puppy, some bastards tried to shoot him. And he has a scar on his paw, I believe from a bullet. Wait a second. I got 2 citations here in Colorado 2 years in a row for shooting firework mortars. Ta. Well, nowadays, will that conspiracy not Kash Patel and the redactor Epstein? Yeah. Why do they redact so much? Well, apparently, if we want to receive answers regarding this, we gotta ask Indike. I believe that Indike holds a lot of answers to our questions. Which, by the way, if you think about it, it wasn't me, consider vacationing in the Netherlands next year. We will see. I love going to Netherlands because it's like 20 minutes away. Yeah, but if you think about it, again, there's a lot of, for example, video records that were missing. For example, any thoughts about Dennis? He was and is a hero, 100%. Nothing but respect, deep respect. So The records that went missing from the CCTV, from all the surveillance cameras installed in Epstein's palace, all right, could his very, very own attorney save them somewhere? Who else, right? So it's either could be him, or maybe some of his foreign friends. Why foreign friends? Because if you're in prison and the stuff you're hiding here, you know, all this territory can be found, can be discovered, but you need people who can release those files in case something happens to you. And those people must be unremorseful. They must have no feelings about it, right? And for the 4th of July, and it was for fire danger, but everyone was shooting that night. My elementary school teacher, Maria Dmitrievna, if I was her, she would say, and if everyone started jumping from the bridge, would you do that too? I watched a program about Trump in 1991 called Trump Was the Deal. Tells you all you need to know about him, and that was then. I checked out some of the videos in Mar-a-Lago with Epstein and the girls. I checked some of the videos of him talking about Epstein and Ghislaine in different interviews. I think I will be talking about that in the upcoming streams, if you like, all right? Because again, that topic is sick, absolutely. It's so sick. So every time I open some kind of picture with his fucking mug, all right, I literally feel like puking. But on the other hand, we gotta expose this shit. And besides, there's a lot of investigators, people who privately investigate this case, and they investigate in the direction of survivors, all right? Everyone who suffered from Epstein, his friends, all right, those motherfuckers, co-conspirators. And just a few people actually are searching in a different direction, in the direction of potential Russian connections, because that's also very, very sick. Don't forget about this shit, all right? Because Russians were involved. They were involved both as victims, and they were also involved both as co-conspirators. So that's also very important to talk about that as well. My grandma said exactly the same thing as your teacher. Yeah, that's a universal thing. They all say that, you know. She stops me in the corridor of the school because I'm running. And everyone is running and screaming like crazy, all right? And I'm like 6 years old, and she's like 66 years old. And she stops me there in the corridor and like, Andrusha, why are you running? I'm like, everyone is running, Maria Dmitrievna. She's like, so if everyone jumps from the bridge, you would do that too? I felt so awkward. I felt like an asshole, you know, from disappointing my favorite and only teacher. Do you have any more Ruski cringe? Yes, I do. And frankly, let me check out if this stuff works. If not, I will be literally dropping shit from my phone, because my phone magically works. Where was that? Moment, all right. Yeah, this one, for example, we have the same reports about the blackouts in the Terror Russia, the drones. Where the hell is my favorite Russian cringe? Just a second, I gotta find something for you, my friends. I promised. I promised I cannot just leave you hanging. All right. This one is old. Yeah, this one is old. Actually, I'll show you something. I'll show you something. That one is actually very, very cringy, I can say. It was a very, very old story, and you're gonna love it. Just a second. Now my Telegram on my phone is not loading for some reason. I don't know why. Looks like sabotage, by the way. I have no idea. All right. Yeah, so here he is. I wanna open it here. There is a Russian influencer, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen somewhere on the internet. All right. And I don't know if we can call it like a Russian cringe, but no, I'm looking at his picture and I think that we actually can. So if you're eating something, all right, if you're eating something, please don't, because this stuff is kind of gross. So there on your screens, all right, you can see this famous Russian gentleman, famous. That is Kirill, who is very, very famous on the Russian TikTok because he pumps the stuff in his biceps to make them look big. All right. Damn it. So I saw that dude on the internet many times. The problem is he started to literally rot. Okay, he started to rot. Why? Well, because he's such a smart person, all right? You can see that he has basically a microphone like mine, all right? He has some kick-ass computer there and stuff, and some kick-ass gaming chair, by the way, which even I don't have. So he's very famous. Synthol oil injection, yes, you're right. That's the case. So if that guy isn't cringe, nothing is. Absolutely. So I know his story textbook case of body dysmorphia. He's going to lose both of his arms. Yeah, that's the case. So what is happening to him? First of all, he started to fucking rot from the inside. And second thing is synthol is basically disintegrating him from the inside, his like muscles and everything else. And because he has very, very bad tests, they cannot transplant his skin, all right? So he's 29 years old, and looking at him, I keep asking myself the same question. What is with this Russian desire to get fucking self-terminated in any possible way? I just don't know. Is it because of education or is it because of lack of education? But the answer to this, I think, is very, very obvious. Like that shit with eventual self-extermination is generally what makes him Russian. 100%. It sucks to suck. 100%. Yes, my friend. That's actually scary and sad, but not disturbing, because generally speaking, that is something that they deserve. Brazilians are seen tall champions with bubble butts. Not only that, what's the name of that dancing stripper, famous Brazilian, Arcadio something? He's like famous internet meme. You know, that who dances like, you know, something like that. I cannot do it myself. I lack skills, all right, but you know what I'm talking about. I learned a new level of stupidity today. Well, welcome to the Russian internet. Let's enjoy while we still have access to this shit, because if they self-isolate, Cardi B, I don't remember. Yeah, but if they self-isolate, Ricardo, yeah, that one. That one is fucking funny. I saw a bunch of like when they added videos and put you somewhere in a different place, and he's like shooting, like they made an action video literally from that only video that we had. Yeah, so when Russians self-isolate into the freaking Cheburashka and we will lose this access to the beautiful Russian world, unfortunately, the only thing that will remain is basically all that content that is still available there on the Telegram. Ricardo, moment. Ricardo, the stripper. I'm risking so much at this point. Yeah, Ricardo the stripper. Whoa! Ricardo the stripper. I'm risking so much because I'm searching for him in the Google. All right, because I shit you not. After this search, every freaking stuff I will be seeing on the internet will be full of naked men. So yeah, I sacrificed my sanity for you, my friends. But yeah, that's Ricardo. I confirm. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. A friend of mine in the army, like a friend of mine, not me, seriously, a friend of mine, he wanted to make a funny gift for his friend for his birthday. And I have to run. Military service is not about watching YouTube. Glory to the decent people, not only to the heroes, but also to all the decent people who stand with Ukraine. Thank you so much, my friend. Have a great duty, and we are all standing with you. So, a friend of mine wanted to buy a birthday gift to his friends, and they were like officers. And they like to joke on each other all the time. So that friend of mine decided to search for like pocket thing, you know, that he would buy for his friend. I'm not sure if he used it, but he decided to buy like this pocket stuff, you know what I'm talking about. Not like a lady, but just a piece of her. So he bought that, and they like, ha ha ha, it was kind of fun. He fucked up his whole search history. After that, the internet was literally full of that shit. He's checking his email, and while doing that, all the banners on the website, they are just fantastic. That was so good. That was just that's the one. That was just so fantastic. Is that how you call it? Flashlight. I see. Yeah, that is fun. Wasn't that one of Brandon's subversive ideas, jiggle a calendar? It was actually my idea. Or was it Brandon's? It was actually my idea, but I will have to pay you to have it, alright? Not vice versa. Rookie mistake. Yeah. But, you know, officers, especially like, those young officers, the cadets, like lieutenants and stuff, they do crazy shit sometimes. But it's kind of fun. Yeah, Brandon was originally supposed to do the jiggle calendar with adoptable dogs from Ukraine. With Max and Pasha, yeah. I remember that one. Surstromik makes a great frontline gift, absolutely. And thinking about it, I feel this urge to try it one more time. Katya, what can I say? Katya is literally like looking at all this, listening to all this stuff and asking herself, what the hell am I doing here? Oh. This one was good. This one was very good. All right. So they should order a birthday cake with a Ricardo Milos bust sculpted in ice. I don't know, even in the army, army that is usually considered like, especially Ukrainian army, that is usually considered like the most conservative organization in the world, all right? Even in the army, 90% of jokes you hear on a daily basis is something like freaking, I don't know, Gachi-Muchi related, all right? Something like that. This chat is now high school gym locker room talk simulator. Oh yeah, absolutely. So speaking of gym locker room, that Gachi-Muchi episode. We have a dude who translates this shit on a YouTube, and he does it in such a funny way that I just shed my pants every time I see his episodes. And he translated several Gachimuchi episodes, like the censored ones. All right. And they are so freaking funny. And he also translates like different songs in Ukrainian language. He sings himself. Yeah. That is crazy. Ellie's probably loading an unmarked van with cookies to kidnap Andrei as we speak. She gotta drop a bunch of sushi in the van as well. I will just arrive on smell, you know. I will be guided by the aroma of Philadelphia roll. What do you think about the Chinese real dolls? Much better than... Hard to tell. I gotta try, and then I will let you know. How does every Russian joke start? By looking. 100%. No. Don't even think about this. All right, don't even think about this. I always say I learned from the best, but I maybe taught her a new terms or two. Yeah, for sure. Guys, I feel a bit abandoned because everyone is talking to each other there in the chat. I'm here. We're only talking with the writer about the real dolls. Let's join the conversation, please. As the song goes, ain't nothing like the real thing. I can tell. But on the other hand, again, my friends, this is so cool that we can literally just enjoy trashing somebody, talking shit, sharing the best experience, all right, best things from our folklore and stuff like that. I absolutely value this because this is absolutely unique experience, all right? We always talk to each other, just noticing. I feel like sitting alone, at a birthday party while the kids are having fun, and I'm like 5 years old with a big cake and eating it on my own. All right. Do you think 2026 is the year the war will end? I think that's the year when the war will change. When the world will change for Russians, and Russians will be feeling this. So that's my opinion. We talked about this because 2026, especially middle and late 2026, we will see Russia experiencing a lot of deficit in terms of its weaponry, but also deficit in terms of its finances, in terms of the budget, because they will be spending more than 50% on the war. And when a country as big as Terror Russia spends more than 50% on the war, it's nasty. It's very, very nasty. A good sense of humor can get you through almost any bad situation. That's what she said. Why does your background change for videos for UATV? Are you taking the flag down for this? Yes, I do. I do because I want to have different background for both channels, all right? Plus, I hang my flag proudly. It also makes a great background, 100%. But I also like the gray background, and I miss it. So I switch them time to time. What do you call a ladder on a hill? A bloody miracle. Love this one. I think more that Russia will change my country's turning into Hungary, and there's the Taiwan situation. Yeah. One of the things that can actually happen in 2026 in terms of, let's say, worst expectations is that we will see a lot of ugly things happening at once. For example, Taiwan, because Taiwan is not Taiwan but China. China is a time bomb. And we will see such things happening in multiple parts of the world. And that will be kind of ugly. What's the difference between a smart Russian and a unicorn? Nothing. They're both fictional. Absolutely. What would a Russian be if he was in China? Alive. Russians have bad taste, said not a single stray dog in Pokrovsk. Speaking of Orban, in Romania, the Bolshevik nostalgics are trying to bring about another Orban by dissolving the government. Ooh. Do you have people who miss the Soviet times? I saw a video where some guy took his rubber for Christmas dinner with his parents. It sucks because she can't help the mom, to prepare dinner and then later help with, stuff with the table. So it kind of sucks. On the other hand, they don't eat much. Can you explain how Ukrainian or really anyone else could trust any guarantees from US today? No way to trust, all right? Because let's be honest, we already signed some kick-ass peace guarantee in 1994. Kick-ass peace guarantee, because it involved Ukraine giving up world's third largest nuclear arsenal. So I just don't even know what to say. The best security guarantee for Ukraine would be NATO membership. 100%. But agreements like the one that we signed with Bill Clinton in 1994, I think the whole Europe are asking the same question. Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe we'll still witness something like establishing new military alliance or transformation of NATO. Because one way or another, this stuff should happen. NATO should be reformed. And it's a natural process. And I believe that we will see that. But in order for this to happen, the people of those countries, they must have a clear understanding why they even need such alliances. And they must have some very, very strong position, all right? Why are we uniting, all right? Why, for example, Polish people unite with Ukrainian people? Because they have a big threat, okay? And together we can defend each other much better than on our own. Same, for example, with Baltic countries. Same, for example, with the United Kingdom, right? France, Italy, etc., etc. We can defend each other much better and much more effectively. People, the population, must have the real understanding, because in the end of the day, people are the power, all right? And it's up to people who will be deciding such questions, who will be taking such decisions. And we don't have that understanding today, because a lot of politicians use that to gain more support, all right, just for themselves. Instead of thinking about the future, instead of thinking about the perspectives of the collective security, they think about their political career, which is something that politicians always do, all right? Sarah Payne said, yes, NATO takes forever to come to any decision, but it's also amazing that many countries can come to a decision about anything. Absolutely, yeah. It's absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely inspiring, because the reason the EU was created, all right, established, France and Germany were competing always. Through centuries, they were always competing, all right? First World War, why it started. Second World War, they were always competing. They always tried, to overgrow each other in terms of their industrial capacity, military capacity, whatever sphere of life. We're talking about Germany and France always competed. After the war, instead of keeping, competing with each other, they decided, why not unite our efforts and build a better Europe? So they united, which basically, correct me if I'm wrong, that's according to the information that I have, according to what I see. They united, and that's basically gave the foundation for the European Union. And now French and Germans, they're basically like brothers. They're basically, I cannot call them the same country, but go to, for example, Strasbourg, right? And you can see this mix of culture where people actually don't care, like if you're German or French or whatever. They have good quality of life, they have future, they have some more or less stability, right? And European Union shows the proper way. It shows the proper way of development. It shows the proper way of evolving, all right? When instead of just competing like crazy with other countries, instead of that, you unite your efforts and you show what you can actually do. Because, again, the people who think that European Union sucks, they should go to Khabarovsk, all right? And they will see what actually sucks. Khabarovsk, Omsk, beautiful Omsk, oh my God. Whatever Russian city you choose, but not only Russian city, because life outside Russian amazing cities don't freaking exist, all right? It doesn't freaking exist. So those who think that America is collapsing United Kingdom is rotting, European Union is dissolving and stuff like that. Guys, don't even make a trip, all right, to places like Ussurisk or Omsk, or preferably somewhere in the countryside. Just Google, all right? Google Kolyma. Just Google simply one thing, Kolyma. The beautiful countryside on the shore. All right, rich with fish resources and stuff like that. Chita, yeah, absolutely. Google Kolyma or Chita, you will see everything you need to know about the quality of life and the difference between the quality of life in Russia and wealthy, strong, safe European Union. Okay. Here, cooperation, community, gratitude, that is one way to sustain heavy societies. And I cannot agree more. We've come a long way. When I was a small child, people in Strasbourg hated me, even though I was too young to have anything to do with World War II. German society came a long way, and they have amazing history. The history of Germany in 20th century, for example, late 20th century, is absolutely amazing. The industrial development and I would say revolution and everything that followed, 70s, 80s, freaking Red Army fraction, that's also part of German history, and it's also very interesting. Red Army fraction, my friends, the terrorist organization that was robbing banks, kidnapping people, and important people in Germany. Red Army fraction never connected to Russia, not at all, not communists at all, all right? No KGB influence here whatsoever. So, and I've been to this amazing museum of German history in Bonn. On the first floor, there is, on the ground floor, there is a tiny exhibit dedicated to Ukraine, 20 days in Mariupol. And then you go further, and there's a section dedicated to the World War II, and then to the post-war period, and also there's a section dedicated to DDR as well. And I enjoyed it so much, literally. It was as if I lived through this. It was amazing. The Germans were the first victims of Eichmann. When the money ran out in 1930s, he offered a way out, blaming others and doing the war again. Kinda reminds me of somebody, right? Kinda reminds me, just a bit. Russia has always been on my don't go there list. My mom was held at gunpoint traveling in the USSR. Yeah, traveling in the USSR definitely wasn't the best idea, my friend. But I've been there myself in Moscow only once, all right? And I knew what to expect. That is why I wasn't much surprised. The only thing I didn't expect much was fucking cold. It's moist, cold. It sucks, generally. I like summer, I like sunshine, I like crazy heat. I just like to feel warm, all right? Because heat won't kill me, the cold will. And when I went there in 2012 for like 2 days, I knew what to expect from that place because I knew Russians very, very closely already back in 2012. So I knew what they are and what Moscow is, all right. So I wasn't much terrified. I was just annoyed all the fucking time. And remember yesterday we talked about Svetlana Pozhedayeva, the Russian, absolutely not a suspicious woman who went to Europe as a model and immediately made contacts with like the top elites of the world. And she made a picture on the bridge, all right, with like Kremlin on the background. I actually took only one picture in fucking Moscovia on the same bridge, like in that very place. Why KGB agents always travel in a group of three? One can read, one can write, and the third one is monitoring the two highly intellectual specimen. We have another joke about this one, only on cops, all right? I heard it because I was a cop myself. It's like why cops always walk in the group of three, because one can read, one can write, and the third one simply enjoys the company of educated people. And I don't remember if I told you that joke about a dog with two penises. Please remind me if I did, because that one is really, really cool. There was a woman who they identified as a spy because of her cat's microchip. Not only because of her cat's microchip, but also because of social networks. That was a Bellingcat investigation by the most famous investigator and founder of Bellingcat that I fucking forgot. Oh my god, I gotta do something with my dementia, but... So I see that people probably, like, some people remember that joke and some people don't remember. That's the one. So to those who are watching us, started watching us recently and don't remember this joke, there is a dog and two cops and they patrol the streets, all right? They patrol the streets, they go to like different sketchy places, back alleys and stuff. And at some point they see like a restaurant or cafeteria with a bunch of people sitting inside and doing something. They go like, we gotta investigate. But there is a sign outside the door saying that the dogs are not allowed. So they... tie the dog outside, they keep the dog outside, they just tie it to the door, and they walk inside to check what's going on, and they see that there's just a bunch of elderly people sitting there playing like tombola or bingo or whatever, and they're like, well, everything's fine, everything's in order, so they walk out, and they see that there's like two dogs instead of one. There's two dogs outside. And they look at the dog like, which one is our dog? And the first cop says, I think I know. Our dog had two ears. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, this one has 1, 2. This one has 1 and 2. Okay, so this one also has 2 ears. The first cop goes, oh, I know. I'm pretty sure that our dog had 1 tail. He's like, you're genius. Okay, this one has 1, all right, and this one, damn it, this one also has 1 tail. And the first cop goes, oh, I know, our dog definitely had 4 paws, all right. And he's like, yeah, let's check it out, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one has 1, 2, 3, and that one also has 4 legs. That's Strange. Okay, so how do we tell which dog is our dog? The first cop goes, oh, I know. Our dog definitely had 2 penises. And he's like, why? And he replies, well, I heard the dude, a bystander, watching us walking with the dog, and he said, oh, look at that dog with 2 cocks. So that's the joke. Where is my... Yeah, there it is. Let me know your thoughts. It's kind of funny to read jokes about cops when you were a cop. I mean, it's... Okay, Ellie is laughing too, so I think that it was a success. That joke of 2025. Yeah. I'm subscribed to a bunch of dead joke communities. They're always so cool. We have a similar one in England. What's the difference between a police car and a hedgehog? I don't know. Let us know, please. Cops are fun guys. Yeah, I hope I still have that picture. I will show it to you sometime. But I had several cases. For example, when we go not on a patrol, but we are involved into providing safety and security during mass events. All right, there's a bunch of people, a protest or some kind of event, and we arrive on buses. Okay, and of course, Ministry of Interior back then, 2015, didn't have a lot of buses, so they would rent some of the buses from the transportation companies in Kyiv. And they would provide us with the buses. They could be like, for example, just an ordinary passenger bus, like on the street, you know, like you can see on the streets. Sometimes they would be like tinier private buses, all right? They're also used like transportation in Ukraine. We call them marshrutka. And we could also use those. And sometimes they would just take us there to the area, and the whole day spent there is literally you sleeping peacefully in the bus and nothing happens. Those were my favorite days. And I remember there were, especially early when I just joined the police, I remember there were so many cases when I would just go to bed, you know, like meh, and sleep. And then I open my eyes and I can see a bunch of, you know, like those big guys wearing black uniforms with the police on the backs. And I'm like waking up and I'm like, shit, cops! And everybody's like, the fuck? And everybody starts laughing. And not only me, a lot of our guys had that stuff, in the beginning especially. And then I have this picture. I went out to have a smoke, and there's this like private bus full of cops inside. Like every guy in the bus either sitting or like pressed into the window, all right? And you can see the whole bus full of those like police in the window, all right? And there is an advertisement, like you can see a bunch of guys in the bus, police, and the advertisement on the bus is saying, first in Ukraine, circus of pet monkeys. I took a photo of that. I think I still have it. What did the officer say to his belly button? You're under. Oh my god. Oh my god. It hurt. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Why did you have Dababooms prepared in advance? Because I have it here. I have it like. Shut up. I have it prepared. I have some stuff in here. You're driving the wrong way on the Autobahn, driver. You don't even know where I want to go. Did I tell you that joke about the Hutsuls? I told you about the Hutsuls, like West Ukrainians, people from the mountain, all right, the Highlanders. So in Ukraine, we have this stereotype about them. How to compare it? Like Florida Man, you know? The legendary Florida Man, probably the most famous person, all right, in the United States. So Hutsuls are our Ukrainian Florida Man because they live in the mountains, far away from the civilization and stuff like that. That is why a lot of jokes in Ukraine about Hutsuls, they're like that. So, you know, like portraying them as those wild people. Remember Ruslana from Ukraine who won the Eurovision with the song Diki Tanci, the wild dance, the wild dancer. Well, that's basically, you know, the basis for all the jokes about the Hutsuls. So we have another joke. It's like when a Hutsul is driving his old car somewhere in the mountains and he's getting stopped by a cab. The cab performs the traffic stop and he stops and the cab knocks on the window. The dude rolls the window down and the cab like sticks the head inside of a window and the Hutsul goes, you know. The cop is like, holy shit. The Hutsul is like, relax, I'm on a leash. You know, that one is bad. But it's so good at the same time. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me, my friend. Yeah. But again, you are acquainted with our humor. We like us assholes from Kyiv. That's our thing. Yeah. There's a car going to the opposite direction of the highway. The blonde looks back and says, "What one? All of them." Ah. I almost got it. Husband says to his wife, "Why don't you tell me when you orgasm?" She replies, "I don't like calling you when you..." Oh, yeah, this one is good. Where is Ruslana now? Didn't see her since 2014. I have no idea. Recently, I downloaded her Wild Dancer to my YouTube music because my lady likes her very much. Yeah. But I haven't heard about her as well for quite a while. There was this funny joke. Let me try to recall it because it was really cool, like the previous one. So there was a dude. So there was a dude, and wait a minute. I will recall it and I will tell it because I'm sorry. Like my dementia is progressing. Everything was fine until the third grade. In third grade, I even received like this certificate, of successfully accomplishing the third grade with like only A's. And after that, everything just started collapsing. I don't know. Putin is expected to address the press. Will he take his Golden Eye train or his limo? Is it the recent one? Because again, my Telegram here died and I cannot really tell. The ambassador of the United States in NATO, Matthew Whitaker, expressed his doubt regarding Ukraine attacking Putin's palace. He says, I think it's not, well, it's translation from English into Ukrainian that I'm translating back in English. So he said, oh my God, I lost it again. Jesus, please work. 1 minute, because I need the actual quote, all right? Every single time you open stuff in a browser, you have like this, do you consent to give us all your cookies? Are you crazy? I don't share my cookies. Translate. U.S. ambassador to NATO questions Russia's claims on attack on Putin's residence. U.S. ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker on Tuesday expressed doubt over Russia's accusations that Ukraine allegedly attacked the residence of Russian terrorist Vladimir Putin. He said it's unclear whether it ever happened. In his interview, it seems a bit inappropriate to me to be so close to a peace agreement when Ukraine is really looking to conclude one, and at the same time to do something that would look reckless or unhelpful. We will find out all using their intelligence and stuff, because it's nothing easier for American leadership than literally find if it ever happened, all right? And especially considering that United States have some of the strongest intelligence in the world. I mean, it's freaking funny. So, at the same time, of course, only degenerates, all right? Only degenerates. Only people that only survive because they eat, okay? So, only those can truly believe that Ukraine is fucking happy about having to fight every single day, that we don't need any ceasefire, peace, and whatever, because the ceasefire is exactly what we're looking for. We don't enjoy being fucking bombed. And that is the reason why Putin wants to have a reason, or make a reason, most obviously, to keep attacking Ukraine. I don't think that anything worse will happen, all right? I don't think that there will be worse strikes on Ukraine, on civilian population, anything worse than we already experience, all right? But that would be just another reason for them to keep attacking. they will just say, what kind of peace, what kind of like security guarantees for Ukraine that keeps attacking us? That's it. This one is golden. I will keep this one in mind. This one is really good, yeah. They changed flags and uniforms and some titles, lost some territory, but outside of that, not much changed. Yeah, especially their doctrine that never changed since like 1931. Still the same. YouTube open mic comedy always goes from 0 to 100% in half a second. Yeah, that's always how it works on this channel as well. We only use our US intelligence for insider training. The sad part of this all is how many people are pretending Putin isn't a valid target. Yeah. The sad part of this is like the saddest part, all right? The saddest part is that people around the world that are currently being attacked through hybrid measures, all right? Through Russian terrorism, through Russian bullshit, people that are being attacked informationally by Russian terrorists who actually have such goals, all right, as increasing the level of distrust in German society, in French society, distrust to the government, increasing the level of fear, all right, towards the future and stuff, increasing the level of xenophobia and stuff. So the people who are exposed to this Russian hybrid warfare every single day, their leadership seriously considers that one day the terrorist federation that keeps attacking them every day, sending sabotage groups, sending drones to like München airport and Denmark. So, there are people who actually consider that one beautiful day they will just open the gates for the beautiful Russian terrorists, invite them to, I don't know, Paris, Strasbourg, Rome, Milan. Open your heart for Russian world, all right? Amazing, beautiful Russian people who stole 20,000 Ukrainian children, who raped all those civilians in Bucha, killed and shot them and buried them, and basically Russians known for riding into the battle on top of donkeys, stealing toilets, and basically doing all that ugly shit that we observe since 2022. So international society, for some reason, after all the shit that Putin has done to Ukraine, and not only Ukraine, they still consider, and especially Mr. Donald Trump, they consider that Russia is like a civilized country, all right? The civilized country that you can simply talk to. Talk to Russians, understand Russian terrorists, because you never try to fucking understand Russian terrorists. Have a beer together, all right? Let's talk about fucking Dostoevsky and Matryoshka with Russian terrorists who built a strategy and literally, actually, consider your country a fucking battleground, all right? Battleground for their shahids. Listen to them, all right? Talk to them. They already know the approximate date of the invasion. 2001, when Putin talked about Ukraine not having right to exist and stuff like that, being part of Russia. It took him roughly 21 years to come to this point, all right? So approximately 2 decades from the preparation, from the start of execution of the Russian strategy. Well, maybe it will take even less, all right? We will see the processes in the European society, but it will take Russia even less time than the invasion of Ukraine to actually invade the countries where people still read fucking Twitter, read those shit tags that Russia is not your enemy, all right? And they believe in this, okay? They believe that Russia is just a beautiful country that was attacked by gay Nazis and Satanists from NATO, all right? One day it was just backstabbed, all right, by its Ukrainian brothers who just went on tanks and decided to invade the tiny Russian country, all right, peaceful Russian country, with the population fucking 5 times larger. I have so many thoughts. About Trump's team, why they love Russia so much, why they completely endorse, all right, what the Russian terrorists are doing, why they never condemn them. But speaking of condemnation, for example, Russian terrorists, I understand that they have some specific communication strategy now, some specific narrative. Regarding their narratives, all right? Regarding what they say about Russia, what they say about Ukraine, they have some specific communication strategy. It's not just because, they think that Ukraine bad, whatever happens, Russia good, whatever happens, and they speak about this. No, they have specific set of narratives that they use, and those narratives were written, they were designed. Because I worked in communications a lot, all right, I still do, and I know how it works. It's not just because Trump is very, very stubborn, and it's not just because Trump wants to make peace and love, right? Because between Russia and Ukraine, no, they have a specific set of narratives that were designed for this purpose. I believe only on my channel we're talking about this. But this is a good place to talk about this because I can tell you a thing or two about the communications. I live around the corner from Starsky's Market. Starsky's Market? You mean that, like actual Starsky's Market, like the building, the store? In Canada, right? Pretty sure the old KGB infiltrated the US a long time ago. They have back pocket sleepers from way back then. It's not a secret. Like, you gotta just Google, anyone can just Google and see all that, all the facts, all the reports from the American intelligence community. Yeah, right wing of many countries are working together. Yeah, that's true. But the fact is, when Trump doesn't condemn Russia for its crimes, it makes me feel very uncomfortable because I talked about it. In our everyday life, we base our decisions, right? We make our decisions based on how legal it is or how moral it is, all right? Mainly, we take our decisions based on these two things, how legal it is or how moral it is. how legal is Russian invasion of Ukraine? Still, there's a lot of fuckers like Dave Smith, for example, right? Like one of them. He likes to talk about Ukraine, how much Russia is justified in attacking Ukraine. There's quite a few degenerates, right, who try to... I forgot the words. It's so hard to speak 5 languages at once. Who try to justify Russia. And so far, since 2022, I still don't have any more or less legit cause, explained why Russia invaded Ukraine. Some say that it was provoked from the standpoint of fucking what? Law? Legislation? Where is that written in a book that if country provokes another country, all right, how do you provoke another country to fucking invade you? Considering what Putin was saying in 2001 about Ukraine, its right to exist and everything else. So from legal standpoint, and especially from the standpoint of what is written in the UN chapter, there is not a single reason, all right, to consider the Russian invasion of Ukraine justified. Because what they do is literally war crime and genocide. And how can you justify a country forcibly stealing people and children from another country? I don't know, like what kind of law would allow this to happen? From legal standpoint, like literally, I would really like to challenge, all right, the degenerates, like all the supporters of the Russian terrorism, to explain this to me from the standpoint of law. Okay, like, and do it like legitimately, like that would be very, very interesting to hear. On the other hand, from the moral standpoint, again, I don't really understand how moral it is to literally wear a uniform, go to a different country, kill a bunch of people in Bucha, bury a bunch of people in the area of like Kherson, Kupiansk, bomb the shelters with elderly people and kids, strike the hospital, the maternity hospital in Bucha, strike the hospital for kids with cancer. Morally, how do they fucking justify this shit? All right, morally. So, again, whatever decision we take, we base this either on how legal it is or how moral it is. And then if we have troubles, all right, if we have, yes, izum. And then if we have troubles with either moral or legal aspect, then we of course can come up with some explanation. I had a very bad childhood, all right. My parents were beating me when I was a kid, all right, and that is why I am a bully, and that is why I like do some kind of ugly shit, all right. Or like Europe and America were always despising us, all right? And that is why our brave Russian soldiers are raping Ukrainian women, okay? How fucking justified is that? So that is the reason why when they don't express any, when they vote, for example, in the United States, in the United Nations, when the United States vote together with North Korea, China, and Russia, and when they never say that, fuck Russians, what the fuck are you doing? What do your troops do on a foreign territory, all right? Why do you take this land? Which, by the way, just to remind you, Putin said that they never wanted to occupy Ukraine. What are you doing on this land? Why are you doing that shit? So when Trump and all of his supporters, his team, White House, all those guys, when they never mention this, all right, that makes me feel very, very much probably upset, I would say. That makes me feel upset. Because if they don't speak about this, it tells a lot about them, all right? To me personally, as a Ukrainian, it tells a lot about them, what they are. Blaming everybody else is easier 100% because when you need to acquire power, all right, you do just like Adolf did. He said, like, we are the best guys in the world, Germany first, all right? And all those fuckers are just like, let's just eject them, whatever. You never build a strong, powerful society on self-isolating from everyone else. And you never build a strong, powerful society on the standpoint of being better than anybody else, all right? Than all those, those fuckers. Us, we are the... No. You build strong society when you can find enough skills and enough guts to fucking unite everyone. When you can find good communication, and finding communication with people that have at least a bit similar values with you is very easy. And that is the reason, for example, why Ukraine can find the common tongue, all right, with Europeans. Why Trump can't find the common tongue with Putin, all right, with the bloody fucker. That explains everything, basically, to me, all right? Tell me if I'm wrong, but that is what I see. So, returning to the society, if you want to build strong society, strong community, that is not separated, all right, like us, white Christians against black Buddhists, against green, Zoroastrians, all right? Because our culture is supreme, because we are so much better. So you have only two ways. You either degrade, all right, either people who have less skills, less opportunities, they either drag you down, or you help them evolve, all right? And I think that the second option is the proper one. Instead of isolating, saying like, fuck you, you gotta find the proper channel of communication between everyone, all right? And that is something that makes you great. That is something that made America great. That is something that actually became a foundation of strong United States. When people from all around the world came there to the land of opportunity and they contributed to developing that beautiful country. And we can see similar processes taking place in other countries as well. Not always good people coming there with good intentions, but we can see a lot of such things. In Germany, there's a lot of Polish people, for example, contributing into development of this country, all right? Same stuff, for example, France, all right? Again, don't say that France is weak. If you want to see a place that is weak and sucks balls, Google Kolyma, all right, or Chita. And you will never ever be calling France or whatever your European country weak again, all right? So you gotta find communication. That's the work of a real politician. If you want to have respect, if you want to deserve this respect, instead of saying, okay, let's divide our countries into like Übermenschen, just like Menschen, and Untermenschen, all right? Instead of doing that, help everyone to become better. Find a proper communication. That is such a complicated skill, all right? This skill requires so much effort. But at the same time, this is something so beautiful in politics. That is something that makes you great, all right? Being able to unite people. That is something that actually makes you a great person, when you can just unite people instead of literally bringing your country to the brink of war, by dividing everybody, like Adolf enjoyed doing, like Putler enjoys doing. But at the same time, guys, people who consider Adolf a great person, they all forget one simple thing: he lost. He lost. So that is just my point of view, and that is the reason why I always have respect to other people by default. All right, I always have respect to other people, regardless of who they are, regardless of what they say. At least eventually, initially, right? I always have respect to other people. Until they start saying fucking shit, for example, about my country, without even realizing that they are literally repeating after Russia Today, all right, the same resource that says that United States should fucking burn, nuclear ashes over an empty American wasteland. So they don't understand what they say, and they say that either intentionally or unintentionally. So until we begin to find, such reasons, all right, for verbal collisions, I have deep respect to everyone, because I believe that respect is something that will actually help us unite. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm fucking naive. Maybe I'm just overly optimistic. But I tell you that I'm not bragging about. I've seen some shit in my fucking life. I'm just 40 and I barely grew up. All right. But I believe that a bit of optimism and motivation is something that we all need, especially today. Am I going to stream tomorrow? Actually, I think I will. I will not be alone, all right? But I hope I will be forgiven for that. Because you are also my family, and that is why if you will be extremely sick and tired and feeling bored, from celebrating with your loved ones, all right, and having nothing else to do, then I will be absolutely happy to have you on my stream as well, all right? So we can have a conversation, share a giggle or two. What am I vaping on? That is Views Berry Watermelon. Wassermelone, okay. And it's nicotine free, but the reason I'm doing that is literally because of a freaking habit. I quit the nicotine addiction, but I still have like a freaking habit of doing that, even though I understand that it brings me absolutely nothing. Currently, I see a lot of messages, for example, in the Russian media that, finally, America has a proper president who supports Russia. Trump supports our cause so much and stuff. But at the same time, if you ask somebody on the streets, what do you think about America? You will be impressed. And it won't be like, your medicine sucks, your pensions suck, you are like have these and these problems in the sphere of economy, you don't care after your people, your schools are falling apart. No, there'll be like, you're fucking pindose, I fucking hate you. That will be like 99% answers, all right, whoever you are. Have a great day or evening, and also have a great new year. Don't forget to eat something good, all right? Friends, we are approaching 3 hours of this stream, surprisingly, because I didn't expect it to last that long. And frankly speaking, I feel hungry. So let me just wrap this one up. Again, just to remind you that our guys in Rubizh, in the Pokrovsk direction, they still require a car. And we are still collecting for the car with Car for Ukraine. So you can find the link over there in the chat. Thank you, Katie. And please make sure to visit it and support our guys, because it's extremely, extremely important. Big thanks to everyone. Big thanks to the moderators traditionally, and also big thanks to everyone in the chat. My friends, always pleasure to see you. Tomorrow we will be celebrating, all right, celebrating together, hopefully. And also big thanks to all the members of my channel who helps to keep it running. And basically have a great New Year's Eve. Tomorrow we will be streaming around probably 10 p.m. German time. We will see around that time scale. So I'll see you later. I will go and probably have myself something. I have no idea what to have. I literally have one hamburger and a bunch of French fries. But it will make me happy, all right? It will make me happy. It wasn't me. Don't worry. I'll be fine. So, see you later. Be safe. Don't forget to have a great snack, all right, after this stream. And goodbye. See you tomorrow. Today I woke up freaking 3 p.m. I'm not kidding. Yesterday I went to bed around 6 a.m. All right, I was like literally replying to commentaries and couldn't go to bed. And I woke up 3 p.m. That's a fucked up experience, my friends. So don't stay up late, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.